In today's video, I decided to make a tutorial for you how I make my lamps. Right now, I have done like about 13 lamps. You can download them in Gumroad. I just make it like my little side project to practice a little bit my geometry nodes, and I think I become okay and pretty efficient just making them. So yeah, we have here, let me just deactivate these. We have here a completely empty scene. I just deleted everything that it had, and I'm just gonna go over here to the left and create a GeometryNodes tab. I can just move it around. Then I'm gonna add whatever mesh I want, create a GeometryNodes, and with control I can just delete the right click. I can just delete the first line, the geometry input to the output. I'm gonna start my screencast viewer so that you guys can see which keys I'm using. Alright, so we're gonna move this away. We're gonna need it later, but for now we just need a completely empty scene. I'm just gonna grab a reference image. So if I go here into the corner, instead of the outline viewer, I just want to go into image editor, and if we go into here, I think it's lamp 14, into any like our documents, and we drag the photo, the picture that we want, we can just delete it, and since it's already in Blender, we can just look at it here. That way we can have a reference image. Here we're gonna make this lamp over here, which I think it has its own challenges, and yeah, I think we can learn a lot with this one. I want to show you guys another lamp that I did, which inspired me to do this one. So let me just go into my lamps. I think it was 13. I'm appending one of my collection, which is lamp 13, and as you can see, we just have our lamp here. We can go into render view and look at it. I'm gonna turn off my world, turn on the lights. So yeah, this is my lamp over here, and I also wanted, like, I decided to, if we go into top view, as you can see, this empty controls the lamp. So yeah, this empty controls the lamp. As you can see, wherever the empty is, the lamp will look at it, no matter what. Wherever the empty is, the lamp will look at it, no matter what. Even if we change any of the settings here, like the angle, for example, it will still look at it. So yeah, this is more or less what I want to do with these ceiling lamps. I don't think we need this collection anymore, so let's just delete it. Perfect. Now, to begin, let's grab our plane, which has the geometry node setup, and we can start. I like to start with as much curves as I can, and also, so yeah, as much curves and the hardest part, kind of. So yeah, we can see that this lamp is composed. Let me see if I can write on here. Yeah, this lamp is composed of this kind of rectangle over here, then a stem, and then a cylinder that goes and directs its position to the empty, or that's what we are gonna try to do. So yeah, that's pretty much what we want to do. I have no idea how to remove it. Ah, there you go. Nope. Alright, I think we're gonna just stick with this. Okay, perfect. So we have that composition. So I want to start with the stem. So if we go into Shift A and we look for a curve, actually let's look for a line and select the curve line. There you go. All right, if we press Shift plus Alt and then we click, we can see that it shows us the node that we clicked. Perfect. So we have a stem. Let's make it shorter. I like to start with a little bit of proportion under my lamp. So yeah, let's yeah. All right. I think this part over here, I also want to do it with a line. So for that, I think we can create a line over here that starts in this point and then it goes to one direction. For that, we have also a curve line, which instead of plugging in like 2 coordinates, which is 0, 0, 0 and 0, 0.17, what we can do is create a line that uses a direction. So if we go and duplicate that one and select this direction part, we can see that we have the start location and we also have a direction, which is just a vector. Like if we put here, like, I don't know, 2, we can see that this line goes into, if we look at it from the side, there you go. We can see that this line will go 1 meter to the top and 2 meters to the left, to the right, I'm sorry. So yeah, the vector that we put here is gonna give us our line direction, as you can see. So it's more or less like 1 to the top and 2 to the side. And if we change this, we can change the direction. So this is gonna be very useful, but we need to know which one, like where we want to start this line. So since we have this first line, we have here a point. This point is in this position. If we change this, we can also see that we are changing kind of the direction. But yeah, that point we can just take it out by combining XYZ. Combine XYZ. And we can control this. This is gonna be our vector. And this vector we can put it on the start location of our lamp. So that the first point is right here, no matter what we do to this line. We can see it more clearly if we join these two geometries. So let's join geometries. And we can see that our first point is right on top and our second point is gonna be our direction. Now, how do we make it so that the line follows the direction of our empty? Well, first of all, let's change the length a little bit so that we still stay on proportion. So this direction is based on a vector, which is just a point referenced with another point, which we already have here. Like this actually gives us the start location and the end location. So for that, first of all, let's add an empty. And then we can scale it. And let's just select our node group and import this empty. For this empty, we only need the location. We don't really need the geometry. We can put it on relative since we are going to move it around. And we can just grab this location and subtract it from this one to create a line between those two to create a vector. Normally, if we just grab this location, you can see it over here. Let's first of all align Euler to vector, which just aligns these two locations, or these. Yeah, if we just plug it in, we can see that as we move this will almost work, but the thing that is doing here is pointing as if it was over here. You know, right now it's horizontal, which if we take a look at it from the side, then we create a new. Right now it's almost horizontal. If we create a point over here and then a line going to that other point, like this, we can see that is the same angle as this. That means that our vector is actually being processed as if it was from here to here, and it's just creating that direction over here. To move that vector point to the starting location of our line, we can go into our empty here, our geometry nodes, and we can subtract the first point, the point that we want, with the second location. That just creates, moves this vector to the actual point and creates an actual line. So for that, we need to add a vector map. And if we put this into subtract, or just press S, we can just grab this location and subtract it from this one. And that almost worked, but as you can see, the line is inverted. So over here, now our line has this vector. We can just invert it. So if we multiply it by a negative number, so it's multiply, and we can just multiply everything by -1. That makes it so that it's inverted. So yeah, perfect. We can remove this line. Now our empty is actually working, and if we move it around, we can see that this line follows it wherever it goes. Great. So yeah, now we can start by, I want to make this, since this is a ceiling length, I want to make it on the negative direction. That's gonna be easy enough. Let me just change the settings for my empty, so that first of all, the location is in Z is 0, and we're gonna lock it 0, so that no matter how we move it, we're not gonna change the Z direction. We're just gonna change the X and Y location. Okay, perfect. Let's invert our line. Since we did this procedurally, we can just change this into a negative number and it will go down, which is what we want. And actually, I'm gonna change this so that it's always below my light, so that it's always pointing downwards. Let me make this line a little bit smaller, and we can do the same as we did. So yeah, now we can just grab this and our light will follow. Okay, we're almost halfway through. Let's just create like a rectangle in the base, and this rectangle will also change our location, the location of all our lamp, since it can change the thickness. So let's just create, I think it's gonna be better if we create, I like to do everything with the curves. I could just create a cube, but if we do it with curves, we can have a little bit more control over how it looks. So let's just create a circle. and this is gonna be a we don't want a mesh circle, we want a curve circle. Curve gives us a little bit more control, and we can create thickness out of it. So let's join the geometry here, and actually we're gonna join it after we join these two geometry, because these ones are gonna be driven by this circle over here. So let's join it, and let's lower these to 4, and then we can rotate it 45 degrees with a transform node. Let's rotate in the direction 45 degrees, and we can make this a lot smaller. Here you go. Something like this, and we can if we want to stretch this, like as you can see, it stretches like 45-degree angle. It's because we rotated it, and with the same node we are changing it. So if we duplicate the node, we put this into 0, we can see that we can now stretch in any direction that we want, orthographic. Okay, let's just make the proportions about right, something like this. We can even change the dimension here and then change only one axis, something like this. Okay, we can fill this, fill curve. It doesn't matter, like we can want to actually hang on it so that it's a quad, and then we can, since we used a curve, it's really easy just to fillet, which is almost like a bevel. Almost. We don't have a bevel node yet, but we can change the radius a little bit and then just go for poly. Actually, let's, yeah, if we put it after we transform it, our fillet works much better. Yeah, if we put it on poly, we can change the count and make this round and make this really small, something like this. If you are having trouble like moving this like 0001, a good trick that I have is if we multiply this, or first of all math, we can set this to divide, plug it in. So yeah, if we make this a very large number, like 200, and then we yeah, if we divide by a very large number, we just put 1 over here, and then we divide by, I don't know, a lot, we can make these like as precise as we. So yeah, that's looking okay. Let's just extrude this. So extrude mesh. Let's extrude it in the negative direction, and as you can see, it creates like this hollow box. Extrude doesn't have like right now the option to actually put this box, I mean close it off, but we can fake it, or not fake it, but go around it just by duplicating this. Like as you can see, if we have here, this is our cap, and then we extrude it. If we join these two together, we join geometry, then join these two, and then we can plug this in. Let's stuff, and now it looks like it's closed off. But if we take a look into our face orientation, we can see that everything is red and this one is blue. We want to make everything blue, so what we need to do is flip these ones here. So if we go into flip faces, we can just plug it in over here, over here. There you go. Now everything is blue. You can change between these two so that it goes blue. Since I'm offsetting it in the negative direction, it goes red. If I were to offset it in the positive, you can see that. Alright, so yeah, I think I also want a little bit more control on this one. So I'm just gonna duplicate this, and I'm actually gonna just multiply this by a negative number, so minus. There you go. So if I make this smaller, it grows, but it's much easier to control. Perfect, we can remove this, but these two faces are not actually joined together. If we were to add a bevel modifier, as you can see, the bottom face actually bevels, but the top one doesn't. So what we can do is join by distance. So merge by distance, sorry, by distance, and you can see that now it actually bevels. We can change the distance here, but great, now we have our base that we can bevel with an extra geometry node. We cannot do anything about it. So yeah, we're almost done. Let me just take this bevel off. We don't really need it right now. I'm also gonna translate these. As you can see, it goes all the way to the back. So yeah, I'm just gonna translate this in the Y direction and move it to the front. That way, this one is over here. But I want to actually move this in another direction. Like since if I make this bigger, where's our scale here? Yeah, if I make this smaller, as you can see, we have to travel or make this also smaller or bigger, I guess. So yeah, if we have a value that controls both of those inputs, we can make it procedural. That's the whole thing about proceduralism, is making one value control multiple things. And if we know how to change that value so that our transformations work together, that's just making procedural. I like to do as much as I can procedurally. So yeah, we are gonna want to change this scale. Actually, I want to let's do it. So to change every axis individually, let's just combine XYZ. And plug this in here, and this is our translation. And if we change, I really want to change scale, but I guess it's really hard to. I don't know how, like, to determine the size of these based on the scale. But I guess we can just change this value. Which is our radius, and we can just plug this here and here, make these two ones because of our scale. And then we can math it out. And we multiply this by, let's see how we want to multiply it, by 15, I guess. So if we change this, we are also changing that. But if we multiply this, we can make it longer or stronger. And this value is gonna change. This is gonna be our value that changes our scale. And we can translate it, like, we grab another value gonna be here. Just multiply this by this number, and we're gonna shift it in the y direction, but since it's too strong, let's just divide it. So divide it by... Alright, so we need to actually multiply this by a negative number, so -1, and then we can change it. If we change the scale, it's gonna keep it centered, and if we change the other scale, it's also gonna like the location. So yeah, I think this kind of works. That makes it so that it's always in that general location. It does change a little bit, but I think it's working. We can divide by a whole number, like it's easier for this. Let me just turn on the timings so that we know how much time every kind of taking, just to see if and you know, this actually destroying our computer by any reason. Okay, we are almost done. We can, since we are changing the thickness over here, and we want to actually change the thickness over here. Let's see. Oh wait. So yeah, since we are changing our thickness here, we want to change the location of these two lines if we change this thickness. So we need to grab a value here. This is gonna control our thickness. If we make it bigger, it goes smaller. We can multiply the we need to only, since we joined these two geometries, which are our line, we can just transform them. Form by this value over here. We can shift it in the z direction. That's what we want. You just duplicate our combine xyz, translate, and now we're gonna change our, and it's a lot. Let's just put it on our divide, and we have to, actually this is inverted, just use the inverse. And as you can see, if we put it in wireframe mode and then we go into this, we can see that if we change this number, the line goes down with it. Okay, we are almost done. Let's add some thickness. So if we want to change this thickness over here, and then like this. Okay, so yeah, this radius is gonna change this over here, and some, this is gonna change this. And if we want to change the scale on the x direction, we can just use this scale, I think. Where's our trend? Oh, there you go. Yeah, this scale. So it's in the x direction. We can just change it. We don't need to worry about making this procedural, because this is always gonna stay in the middle. Okay, so yeah, let's just add another value. Just do together, get another value, put it in scale here, and we this that I looks. There you go, something like this. Since everything is procedural, we can just also this, and we can change the length of our lamp here. All right, great. So next order of operation, let's just create some thickness is in our lines. We can just create it from here. If we turn the curve into a mesh, that's why I like to use curves. We put 2 mesh for first one. There you go, and we can use a circle. Curve circle, plug it in here. It's huge, but scale, you can see that you are have some thickness. Just grab our divide so that we have more control over here. Bigger. Let's join these two geometries together with join my distance before we actually make it thick. There by distance, we can plug it in here. Since these are two, wait a second, what is? Input geometry has unsupported curve. We cannot join curve. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit. So let's just convert into. Could we do this after we convert it to a mesh? Let's just convert it into a mesh, then convert it into a curve. To mesh the curve and put it over here. That makes sure that our lines are stitched together. Actually, I don't know if we want that because we want control over those. We want this. Actually, yeah, this merge by distance we really need it, and we are gonna change and control the thickness of our two lines separately. Okay, so this is our first stem, and then we need to make our lamp. Our lamp is also gonna be this, and we're gonna use another circle here, put it over here. We want, I think, yeah, if we want more control, let's just duplicate this divide, make it smaller. Yeah, if we change the top values, it's a little bit easier. So let's make this 100. And then we change the value. Perfect. Now we move this around. You can see that we can point our light source. But first we need to make our light source look alright. So let's just put it. So let's look for our mesh here and plug this after we hit here. Grab this and we can set off individual, put it a whole face, and we can do the same trick that we did over here. Just it's extrude, then flip, then join geometry. So we can copy those two, Control V. Let's duplicate this. And let's join geometry. This geometry. Tell this one over here. Join the two. Now this has some thickness. And we can sort of flipping this face. I'm just gonna, let's take a look which place do we flip. I think it was this one. And merge by this also. Merge by, there you go. If we want to shade smooth some parts, because right now it's shading smooth our circles, but it's not really shading smooth. Like we want there to be a nice corner. Wait, we want here like a nice edge. So for that, let's just set that it's smooth. Set it's smooth. Put it over here, and since we extruded it, we have the top face and the side face. We want to shade smooth only the side face, so these are gonna be our selection. And as you can see, our side face, it's smooth. We change this, like, yeah, there you go. That way we don't really need that much geometry. All right, so okay, so if we want to close the back, since we turned it into a curve to mesh, we can fill the caps. The thing is that if we fill the caps, both of our caps are gonna be filled. We take a look at this lamp. Okay, we don't really want to fill the caps. So what I want to do, I think it's much easier. So where's our fill caps here? Okay, we just want to close this off. We can do this many ways, but one of the ways, it's since we have our location and our angle with this curve, our curve with the angle and with the vector, we can use this curve and just make it smaller, like it's just the same curve. So Shift D, gonna be exactly the same curve. It's gonna use the same nodes or the same setup as the one on top here, and we are gonna control the value of these two, which is gonna be our length. If we make this bigger, we're gonna have two of these curves, but we want this value to be much smaller. So if we scale the value, or in other words, we multiply the value, or we divide the value by 0.5. If we put 0.5, it's gonna be half of the length. So yeah, let's just join these two together for now over here so that we can take a look at it. And oh wait, yeah, we're just changing the length. Now we need to change the radius. So we use this curve to mesh. We can use this and use another circle as our profile, but with the same setup as this one. So yeah, we can duplicate this, grab this into this profile here, and we can control the value of these two. Let's just put this on 5 point something, and then multiply these. I don't know, by the 2. So it's gonna be twice as big. We can make these, I don't know, 0.9 big, and this one we can fill the caps. Now we are filled in. We can change this value to be very small. Yeah, that works. That works really nice. And if we change our length, everything changes with it. Also, our extrude mesh, I think I'm gonna use also a divide here. thing this so that it's smaller, and we can control our, like, just put instance a light inside here so that it actually works with EV instead of just adding like a ball in there. So for that we need our to know our position of this line or the line in the middle so that it changes with everything. So yeah, first let's instance some points. We are gonna instance from this line, the one that we made smaller. This curved line is gonna be our point. Just grab the and then we can add a light, but we add a light in the world. So just I'm gonna use a spotlight. I haven't used one, but I think for this station we have our spotlight, and we can select our object and for the spotlight. Also we can put it on relative. I think this is gonna be our instance as instance. I think we can hide this view and together. Go. But it's instancing on one and on second. We have two lights. So to only have one, we can grab an end point selection, put it in the selection tab, just delete one of this. I think this is the one that we want. One closer to the camera. Okay, now we have our spotlight, but we need to actually make it direct light towards our empty. So we already kind of know how to do this, but if we grab our vector over here, this is a direction that we made. In other words, our vector. But if we put it into the rotation, it's not gonna work. That's because we need to actually align it. Since this is a rotation and not a direction, we need to use our align Euler to vector. Align it, and we plug this to our vector. So this is gonna be our vector. And if we change these ones over here, we can see that it kind of works. It's also inverted. So I think this is our inversion and use for it. So we have actually our light setup, which is kind of working. If we go into our instance here, we can change the radius so that it more or less radius of this. We can change our angle so that it's more or less the angle we want. We can change this later. Let's hide it. As we can see, it's almost there, but we need to translate the instance. So I think there's a node for this. Translate instance, and we can move this instance. If we use this node, we can use either the local space or the world space. And the local space, I think it's what we want, because since we transformed it, we can change that same vector. Really nice. And we can just put this. I don't know why it's not centered. Let me see. Yeah, kind of works. I don't know why it's not really centered. It should be. Oh wait, that's because this one is. Oh, we need to shift our light down when we import it, because it's taking the location from this point over here. So for this translation, we need to, let me just see if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't really matter. We already have like this, the general direction. So transform this. For here, and we can just shift this. The Z. And we just need to translate it in the Z direction, this height over here. So we want to control Y and Z. Let's switch this, and let's look for our height. First of all, this, and this is gonna be, I think our height is, if we change this value, yeah, our height. So just add a value node, put it over here, our height, how it was, and use the value translating height over here, and we can just, now it's a little bit better. I don't know if it helps. Okay, but I think we have our light. Let's just see how it's looking. Yeah, that's working all right. It's going to TV, turn on the lights, and change our world to a very small number, 0.2. Activate it. Now with our light, we can change the strength of our lamp right here. Here. Now we have our light. We can also change like the angle. But yeah, these lights are supposed to be spotlights, so we don't have much. Cool. If we wanted to change the angle, we would need to put this light close to the front, like this, so that if we change the angle, that will work. Lamp and change. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, we can fake the light that is coming from the inside, because right now if we take a look at it, the front, we can see that there's no light here. We will need to either change like this location maybe, so that the light looks all right, but we get some weird shadows. It doesn't work. So what we want to do is just instance like a sphere here, or yeah, just instance something over there with a white material. So we can use our same instance on points we just used here. We grab the same points, these points, and the points here, and here, put it over here. We also want to rotate it direction, and we want to try like this here, and make this here small. Want it, we can just set a material here, set material, and let's just go our data editor. We go into our object, useful. Let's just add, I think we are gonna need two materials, and new and new, be our, and this is gonna be very dark. Perfect. Here, and bigger, and we choose this to be light. See that kind of works. Bigger. And translate it that we have here. And if we change our settings from Eevee setting, activate bloom side, yeah, it just fakes a little bit of our, like, if something there, yeah, it's just for some situations, like you don't really need it if you are looking inside, but if you were to kind of look at it here, you can see a nice light. So yeah, let's just set the material for all the other ones. If you want me to teach you how to make this like a parameter, we grab these, plug these here. We can change some things from the outside, and we can just duplicate these a bunch of times. Oh yeah, we can change of these. So yeah, something's not right because we do this kind of rotating, but it's not really working. Like it's moving so weirdly. Maybe we need to change this to original. Yeah, so now we can actually duplicate it like as an instance. So alt D, these two objects are the same, so it takes a lot less to load. Let me just change spotlight size, angle. And the nice thing is that these two are gonna be looking at the same position. We can kill this and throw it here. Then grab it. This, which is really nice. You can have a 3 light setup and change individually. We go into this. We can change the length or anything else that we here. We can change it individually, even though these are separate objects. I mean, instance objects. We can change the look of them without compromising on performance, without having to really duplicate it. Just Alt D, you can see working really. So yeah, any input that you want to like shift these two together here. We can change this over. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you would like to, I don't know, learn something else, or if you have any questions, and ask me. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Like any of these values that we created, we can just grab our input node or group input node, just plug it in values here and outside. So if we want to make our base a little longer, make it longer. We want to change our height, change it. You want to change like another thing, like this value over here, you can just move it, and our length, this other value, shift there. and this is our our thickness. I think we also had here fillet and extrude value here. Duplicate this, put it over here, and we can change. It is here, and we can just. So yeah, this is pretty much my way of working, and just also set up the material for one. So dark is dark, and we can duplicate resource. So there you go. So we can duplicate this and put it like into our outputs. These are black materials. And there you go. That's pretty much how I make my lamps. I'm gonna upload these soon to my Gumroad if you guys want it. And there are a lot more like these Gumroad and elaborate. It was just an exercise. I don't want it. A way of making. So yeah, I just wanted to record it. Hope you guys like it and learned something. If you need anything else, no. So yeah.